I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
All right, so I got a lot of emails on questions about where a lot of times you see me pulling the gopher out of. That's stored at my parents' property, and they see a lot of junk. I call it the boneyard, but they call it junk. They called it a junk on the in the questions, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there and everything. So I thought what I would do would be go through some of the things that are left out there. Kind of had to wait until the snow was gone, but so it's got that way today. So we're going to run and take a look at the boneyard, and it's basically a lot of projects that I always wanted to do or were doing at one time, but 25-30 years ago when I really got hurt and was laid up for years and years and years, and just, I mean, basically in bed, everything got sidetracked. A lot of parts got sold. A lot of tools got sold and or lost. They just kind of disappeared. We're not sure where they went. So I think I'll go over some of that, point out some of the vehicles and things, and I really would like to get back to doing some of the stuff. Unfortunately, with my health the way it is, and the inability of my hands, the neuropathy, the nerve damage, the arthritis, you know, all the crap that I'm going through. Anyway, I'm not going to be able to do it myself by myself. With a helping hand, I may be able to accomplish something like that, and I'd like to find a couple of people that I could teach some things, if it's even worth knowledge. You know, it's 35 years old knowledge. I'm sure welding hasn't changed all that much, and I know the automotive trade has, and painting cars and custom paints, and airbrushing's basically the same. I mean, but you really have to have the hand for that, which mine are gone. But someone might want to pick things like that. I have so many people ask questions about the paint jobs that I've done on things that are laying out there, or even on the Gopher itself. They want to know where I got those stickers. It's not a sticker. It's called lacing. It's multiple layers of paint blended and sprayed through lacing material, and it makes a certain effect, and then you add purlings to it, and then clear coats. But they don't even have the lacquers that I'm used to working with. I guess the EPA says no more lacquer in the atmosphere or whatever. I still have some. And some of it's still good. I've used it on the Gopher so far, and some of it's lasted 15 plus years. So, you know, so we're going to go through some videos of that. Hopefully it answers some questions or doesn't bore people to tears, but those that ask for it, here you go. Go through the old boneyard of things we used to build. Got a lot of scrap still that we used to carry. At one time, this area back here had racks that were built up with all the scrap steel when I welded and when I would take care of his stuff. Ooh, there's a set of old bumperettes off from a Cushman. This is what went onto the bumper of the old Cushmans and stuff. Huge steel bumperettes that they had. And we got the fuel tank back here. The fuel tanks are what we cut in half to use for burning barrels. Out here in the country we can take and burn things. So we burn a lot of our garbage. And steel piping, tubing, racking, security doors, tinning. The old boneyard's full of stuff. Oh, speaking of Cushmans, here is, let me see if I can get around to it. The snow's gone. That's the only reason I was able to get back here. But I don't know if you can see it very well, but underneath the debris, this is an old Cushman scooter, 48, 49. It was their big model for that year. This one had, let me see, nope, this one didn't have the clutch. This one had the centrifugal clutch on it. It doesn't have a motor right now. And I got it basically to have for parts for my one that I have almost fully restored in the shop, in the back of the shop. I can't really get to it to take pictures, but we used parts off of this to help fix that. So that I always wanted to. I had these dreams of doing this. I wanted to take this, do all the metal work to the body and everything. Get over where they shot it through holes. Of course, on the farm, with things setting out on the farm, that's what they used to do, that's what happened to our big Cushman delivery van. We had a 3-wheeled Cushman delivery van that those bumperettes came off of. They shot it so full of holes that I just wasn't going to be able to repair and fiberglass the shell. The shell was fiberglass. Now luckily this is good, thick, heavy metal. It is rusted, but I can do a lot of cutting and welding on that someday. I've always got a dream of fixing that, and I want to put like a 250, 300 motor in it. And I'd like to do that and then build a sidecar that's at the same shape, the same swooping shape as the shell, and put a sidecar on it. And you know, that was my dream 30 years ago when it got back here, but after I got hurt and things got worse and whatever. But now I'm trying to do things I can do. I mean, more than likely I'll have to, you know, find a couple of helping hands. I mean, I've got all the knowledge to do it. It's just my body won't physically allow me to do a lot of the stuff. But I'd still like to get that done. And if there was a couple people that would learn to, you know, want to learn welding or want to learn body work and stuff, then I can teach them all that. Of course, what I know is, like I said, 30, 35 years outdated, and there's all kinds of other technology and stuff for painting. This is a 72 Beetle. This one's already been scavenged. We took the motor out of this one for one of the dune buggy sand rails. We've got there's still quite a few good parts on it. I mean, it's sunk into the ground pretty good. The frame's gone. This is a pan. This is a pan out of a Type 4 station wagon that I used. And then there's the rear end, rear suspension out of the Type 4 that we used to use for trikes when we built trikes. There is Suzuki. Yeah, that's a Suzuki that one of the frames that we used to scavenge when we would use the front ends for building trikes and everything. So that's what's left here. There's a couple of trailer frames, all kinds of tires, tubing, all kinds of steel. I mean, it used to be a day I'd never have to really go buy steel. I'd go to the scrapyard once a month, and that's all the I'd pick up all the scrap steel I needed. This is a 72 Chevy van. It's a Sportsman series, windowed van. They used it last for carrying stuff for putting up garage doors and homes and stuff. It has a 350 4-bolt main with an AFB low-profile carburetor. Has EFI high energy ignition, pre-brain box, and it has a 307 rear end with a 3-speed on the tree. And this thing in its day would absolutely scream. It's a rotted mess now, sunk into the ground back here in the boneyard, but the motor probably is still good. Just would have to turn it over. Let's see, I'm going to have to walk around. I can't get to the other Beetles and stuff, so give me a second and I'm going to walk around. Yeah, that's the 72 Beetle we had back there, and then the 72 van. More steel scrapping, scrap steel, wire, tubes. More front ends from VWs underneath there. That's all drive shafts and front ends off of torsion tube VWs. And then I got this, this is a 73 Super Beetle that all the vines have grown over. Like I said, the snow just left yesterday, so we're gonna try and do this before it comes back tonight. But that's a 73 Super Beetle. It's sitting on a Johnny Speed and Chrome sandrail dune buggy trailer. It's sunk into the ground, so that's interesting. It has a freshly rebuilt 30 years ago, freshly rebuilt motor in it, and hopefully it's one that I'll take out and make sure, hopefully it's not seized up, and I can roll it around and possibly put in another trike, or get my sandrail out of storage. And but the motor in the sandrail in storage is really good. It currently has a 1776 motor in it. I have out of the blue one back there that we took the motor out of, I believe we've got it sitting in on blocks inside the shop, and it is a 2100 cc. It's the one I used to use when we raced in the sand dunes and stuff for drag racing. Now, just to run around in the sand dunes, basically the highest motor I would use would be the 1776 1600 dual port, just stock motor with high milling oil pumps and coolers and speed pulleys, and then sand seals is about really all you really need. But I mean, there's still a lot of scrap steel here, trailer tongues, things that we can build and do. There's a security gate divider. It's an accordion style that comes out. The steel off of that's a really hardened steel. It has been sitting here for over 30 years, and it's just barely getting some rust on the edges. The rest of it's still coated. I think it's coated with phosphorus. It just does not, or phosphate, excuse me, phosphate, and it doesn't rust for nothing. It bonds itself to the metal, and you really have to scar the metal before it will come through and rust. But anyway, that seems to be this portion of the boneyard. There's still enough parts back here to where I can do what I need to do, and we've always got more someplace. I think we have some on the other property for all of the go-karts and mini bikes and lawnmowers. We used to build racing lawnmowers. That was a long time ago, before I ever saw anything about well, before I even knew computer or YouTube or anything like that. We used to do that and have little lawnmowers we'd build up for the kids to run around on. So I want to go see if we can find some of those. Yeah, there's the gopher. I gotta try, and if it would just warm up, I mean, the snow's gone. If it would just warm up, then we'll try and get with the vacuum booster fixed and repaired on that, so we can get that back on the road and be driving it, because I'm about to lose my mind without it. Alright, so here's the go-kart and or lawn and garden tractor scrap pile that we've got with parts. We've used quite a bit out of them. We used to use a lot of these old pressure, the tank cylinders and stuff for gas tanks and everything, and they made really good gas tanks that we use. A lot of PVC pipe. We used to build dryers for air compressors and stuff. Of course, they make electronic dryers now for the air compressors, but we used to take a route tubing of PVC pipe from floor to ceiling, floor to ceiling, floor to ceiling in a S pattern, and we'd put valves and then stuff them full of stainless steel mesh, and that would condense all of the moisture and would dry the water out when we were painting. Of course, like I said, they've come up with all kinds of electronic stuff now, and we got all kinds of trailers. We got the small trailers that we've built, the bigger dual trailer axles that we built, and then I've got that big behemoth over there. Yeah, this thing here is an absolute monster. You could park a Caterpillar tractor on top of this thing. We built this one, and it has several U-channel and I-beam channels and stuff. Right now we just built a box on it and stuff. It's full of computer scrap. The reason we've got so many of these truck bed liners around here, we use them to put in the trailers, and as we put them in the trailers, we can stack gravel and or hay and or mulch in them, and then we turn one on the bottom and then one on top and wrap it down, and it keeps everything from blowing away. And I think we got some more parts. We're going to build another trailer next year. Either that or swap axles so that we can do it. Yeah, all of our tires. There's a couple of trailer axles underneath this here that we're going to use. And oh, that's the railroad tie hoist that my dad built. Put it on top of a little thing, so when he was laying the landscaping ties and stuff, he could hoist them up and didn't have to carry them and move them. And well, they were railroad ties instead of landscaping, so they weighed 3 times the thing. And then we've got the old poles that we use for gardening and everything. So that's pretty much an overview of the boneyard, as it be, of what we've got. I just thought it'd be interesting to walk around, and I got a lot of ideas for projects. If I can get to riding again on the summertime trike, if I can get it up and going and keep going every day with the gopher, then I hope to be able to get to a point where I can start paying attention to some of these other projects. Like I said, if I could find 1 or 2 younger guys that wanted to learn some welding skills and or mechanic skills and auto body, then we'd be in there good. So for now, I guess this will be it. See ya!
Damn, that was annoying.